What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 33 of Tell Me What You Know. Today is Tuesday, December the 10th, and we're a third of the way through the month.
You sure it's not the 9th?
I'm positive, unless my computer's wrong.
Feels like the 9th.
Feels like December the 9th?
No, it's definitely the 10th.
It's definitely the 10th.
My advent calendar was the I get to open up the 10th one today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot of chocolate.
Yeah. I did go ahead a little bit. I went ahead a couple days, and then I had to not eat a couple Advents for a couple days. But I'm back on track.
Good self-control there.
I'm back on track
Do
now.
they make... the only advent calendars I've ever had are like the ones you get at CVS, and the chocolate's just whatever. It's kind of like...
I was gifted this one.
And is it like a nice one?
Yeah, the chocolate is
So it's
so good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I think it's like European chocolate or something.
Oh, from Europe.
Very nice.
Yeah. Love European chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, since it is almost the end of the year, we have the yearly tradition of everybody making the best of articles, the listicles that are going on. And now it's almost doubling down. It's a lot of the best of the decade listicles going on. And what I've seen a lot of recently is meme of the decade.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And like a lot of people can't agree on what the meme actually means. Nobody can really agree on which meme was the best. But you see a lot of the same contenders up there. You got the grumpy cat.
Mm-hmm.
You got the crying Jordan. You got the confused Nick Young. There's a lot of good ones. The sarcastic SpongeBob. So I think generally the top 50 are probably, you can put them anywhere. But,
yeah.
I saw Chrissy Teigen was pissed because she got like dead last in one of the polls for her meme.
So many people love her. Like, not saying she's not lovable.
Yeah.
I'm just meaning she hasn't really done much other than, like, she was the model and then she married John Legend, and now I think she has a cooking show.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah. I don't know what.
That's what I mean. She just is like a full-on influencer.
She's a personality.
She's just a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's great. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I just was surprised. That's all.
Right on. Good deal.
I have one follow-up from last week's episode. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about caddies and then a gopher.
Right.
So somebody was like, oh, it means to go for something. Makes and then sense. Just rolled it into, oh, it's a gopher. Oh, so go for coffee, go for lunch, gopher, go get it. And then I guess they kind of have some gopher tendencies to the animal.
Right,
like a little,
fidgety.
frenetic movements.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Great. Good follow-up.
There you go.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, hey.
Excellent.
Don't want to leave our people hanging.
No, and I wish you hadn't. I was just hoping that I was right on what my thought of the gopher was, that it came about. Like, I can't remember what I said, but that was not what I thought the gopher came from.
Yeah, I don't remember what you said either.
Yeah.
1 week removed. Can't even remember.
I can't remember what my topic was last week. So. That is a
perineum sunning.
Oh, that's right. That's right. How could I forget?
How could you forget?
Butthole tanning.
Yep.
Well, let's get into this week's topic since it is fresh on my mind.
Let's do it.
Michael, tell me what you know about whiskey.
Whiskey. So whiskey is a dark liquor. I know that the big discrepancy is always bourbon and whiskey. But whiskey, I think, is the more global identifier. Like, you can have Japanese whiskey and different types of whiskey, whereas bourbon would be like Kentucky whiskey.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
And it has to be in similar ways to like champagne has to be from Champagne, France. Bourbon has to be from this certain valley or whatever in Kentucky. This old bourbon trail. Let's see. What else? It's delicious sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay.
Sometimes. I think there are some brands that I don't want to drink anymore.
Yeah.
But there are some that really hit the spot.
Probably the cheaper ones from college, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't want to have any more Evan Williams. Okay. Green Label.
Right.
Anything where you squeeze the bottle and it's plastic. Yes. I don't want any more of that. My favorite whiskey is Whistle Pig.
Whistle
Pig Rye.
It's really good.
That's really good. That's like a Vermont whiskey.
I don't know where that's from.
New Hampshire or something. Somewhere up there. Delicious.
Okay.
I don't know. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, you left out Scotch as well.
Yes, Scotch.
Yes. So whiskey is just a distilled spirit made from fermented grain, typically matured in wooden barrels or some kind of container for some period of time, right? So then you have, from there, it kind of just spiders out. You've got Scotch. You've got your Irish whiskey. You have your ryes and bourbons and American whiskeys. You have your Japanese whiskeys, your Canadian whiskeys, and then just whiskeys from wherever, right? So what's the difference between all of these? So Scotch, where's Scotch from?
Scotland.
From Scotland.
Yeah.
And what it's made of is either it's malted barley,
Okay.
or it's a grain, so that could be any other cereal grains, or it's a blend, right? And so the Scotch whiskey regulations of 2009 have some requirements for what it means to be a Scotch, right? It can only contain water and malted barley. It has to be matured in oak casks in Scotland for no less than 3 years.
So Scotch can only come from Scotland?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So if you were in England and you asked for a whiskey, you're probably going to get a Scotch. Now, if you're in Ireland, you ask for a whiskey, you're going to get an Irish whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are some examples of these Scotches? Do you have any Scotches in mind?
Like a Glenlivet.
Yep. Yeah,
Glenlivet's probably the big one.
It's a
Any
single
Glen.
malt.
Any Glen.
Right.
This is my favorite line from Swingers.
Correct.
Just bring me a Glen.
Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, a Macallan.
Yeah.
You got a blended, which might be like a Famous Grouse or a Chivas Regal, Johnny Walker, etc.
Dude, why do I have it in my head that Scotch usually is like a like when I drink Scotch, I almost can get warm. Like I could be outside in the cold and drinking a Scotch, and I feel warm. Like it almost has. I feel like it has a stronger flavor than some of the other whiskeys that I've had, bourbons even.
Right.
Maybe you get to this, but that's a perception I have about Scotch.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, in the drying process of the barley, they use peat. So they use like peat, from the bogs, and they use the smoke from that to dry out the barley, dry out the grains, and that allows for a smokier taste.
Okay.
Usually a smokier taste of Scotch, I think.
Yeah.
Than other whiskeys.
Like I usually have it like it's a nice, a nightcap drink. You might have one Scotch to kind of end out the night.
Sure.
But it can give you like a big buzz from it. I think.
Right. So that's we're gonna kind of go through all of them quickly, and then we'll go through how it's made. Irish whiskey,
Jameson,
obviously from Ireland.
Yeah.
It can be either the island of Ireland or from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Malted barley, of course, is what it's made of. Or in a pot still, it's 30% malted and 30% unmalted barley, and it's distilled in a pot still. We'll get into what a pot still is shortly. And then
pot still.
Yeah, a grain Irish whiskey. So it's no more than 30% malted barley in combination with some other cereal grains.
Did you already say what malt means? Like, what does malt mean?
So malt is when it's the grain, usually the barley, I guess, has been germinated, and then it's allowed to sprout a little bit, and then you heat it to stop the growth, right?
Okay.
So that process is going to release an enzyme or secrete an enzyme that converts the grain starches into the sugars. It's the starch to sugar process there.
Okay.
Right?
So that's what a malt is. Like that's the malt process.
Yeah, I believe.
I guess. Okay. We'll go with that.
We'll go with that. But we're back on Irish whiskey, right? So we talked about the malted barley and the pot still and the grain, and then there's the blended as well, which is just a
mixture of those.
Right. So there's a requirements, the requirements as of the Irish Whiskey Act of 1980. I love that these guys have these like just national acts that they.
It's like a major export form. I can understand if you don't want somebody saying it's, Irish whiskey and it's from Tampa.
Sure. All right. So the requirements: it has to be made from a mash of malted barley plus other cereal grains. Those other cereal grains are optional. Has to be mashed, fermented, distilled to no more than 94.8% ABV, matured in wooden casks, typically oak, and has to be matured for a minimum of 3 years in Ireland or Northern Ireland. Right.
Got it.
So some examples, you said Jameson already, Bushmills as well.
Bushmills.
Yeah, some big famous Irish whiskeys. Right?
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the States.
So
you've got bourbon, rye, American whiskey, Tennessee whiskey as well. So bourbon.
Right.
You said earlier it's from Kentucky. The majority, yes. It does not technically have to be made in Kentucky to be bourbon.
Okay.
It's just the process, right? So the majority of it is made in Kentucky, but it has to be at least 51% corn. That's the grain they're using here, right?
Okay.
The rest can be anything. Typically, it's rye or wheat. Those are the most common. And of course, because America, there's tons of experimental bourbons that use stuff like quinoa and oats and stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah, you got to get your, your chic, nice artisanal bourbons as well.
Yeah.
Probably bottled mostly in Brooklyn, I would imagine.
Definitely. Oh, have you ever had quinoa whiskey?
Right.
Oh, it's delicious.
Right. One stipulation here, they have to be matured in new oak barrels, new charred oak barrels. So the barrels can't have to be brand new. They can't have been used before.
Huh.
Right. That's where they're going to be maturing, in those containers.
Yeah. The oak producers, I'm sure, like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Rye whiskey, 51% rye is the grain, right? At least. And then the rest is the same as the bourbon. Tennessee whiskey is pretty much the same as bourbon, but it has to be from Tennessee, and they use a process called they filter it through maple charcoal, and this is called the Lincoln County process.
Okay.
So that's something unique to it. So I think maybe you get a bit of a sweeter taste to a lot of these Tennessee whiskeys, maybe. And then just some general requirements for American whiskey. Distilled to less than 95% ABV, stored in oak containers. For the bourbon, we said new charred oak containers, right? And so some examples. We have bourbon, your favorite, Evan Williams.
Yeah, delicious.
Yeah. Jim Beam, Wild Turkey. Right?
Those Mila Kunis commercials.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Some wheated bourbons, so we replace the rye in there with wheat. It's kind of a smoother taste, would be the Maker's Mark or the Pappy or the Weller. Pappy, we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But
like the most expensive bourbons we can find?
Right.
Yeah.
High rye bourbons, so you have Bulleit, Woodford, Four Roses, and then Tennessee, you have, of course, Jack Daniels, George Dickel, that kind of thing.
Dickel.
Right.
Yeah. Dickel's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So for Scotch and for Irish whiskey, there were aging limits, right? It had to be at least minimum 3 years.
Minimum.
For American whiskey, there is no age limit, except for straight whiskey. To be considered straight whiskey, it has to be aged for at least 2 years. All right.
Does the straight mean anything else? Like, do you know, like, it might be some different
the
delineation.
Age consideration, right?
Got it.
Yeah. Somebody can for sure correct me on that.
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard of straight whiskey as like a type of whiskey.
Yeah, because it's a...
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go into the how it's made process, right?
Okay.
So kind of break this down into about 5 to 6 steps, I guess. You have the malting, you have the mashing, the fermentation, the distillation, the aging, and then the bottling. So what was that, 6 or 7 maybe? So malting, basically, essentially what that is, you have the raw grain, you need to access its sugars, right? So the grain is
precious sugars.
Precious sugars, because those sugars turn into alcohol.
Right.
So the grain's moistened, so it can germinate, it can partially sprout. This is the malting process that we talked about earlier.
Right. And it's heated.
I knew I was going to get there at some point, right? Yeah. And so then this germination stops when you add heat to the grain.
Okay. So you like bring it to a boil and whatever.
I don't believe that I think it's just heat is put on it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So then you got the mashing process. So you have these sugars and you need to extract them before the fermentation process. So you got to ground up the grains that are being used and put them in a large tank with the hot water and stir it all up, right? You got to agitate it, get it all moving around in there.
Right. Yeah. No, you got to agitate it.
Don't let it rest on its laurels here.
Yeah. No. Keep it going.
Get working.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the times the malted barley is added in here as well, just to kind of get to catalyze this starch to sugar process. And once as much sugar as possible has been extracted, you got a new mixture that moves to the fermentation stage. This is called the mash, or the wort if the solids have been strained from it, right? So
I feel like I've heard of people say, that what's going on with the mash.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's like a process.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Fermentation process. This mash now meets the yeast, and the yeast goes in there it just Pac-Mans up all the sugars, right? Turns those into alcohol.
Right. So the yeast is bacteria.
Right.
It goes in there and eats the sugar.
Turns the sugar into alcohol. This can take a few days, 48 to, 96 hours, depending on a variety of factors. I guess that just kind of lends itself to the taste or the different kind of things there. So,
right.
Yeah.
Or maybe even how much sugar is in there.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And then this new product, the result is called the wash.
Okay.
Right. Now the distillation. Go ahead. Sorry.
So the yeast eats the sugar, and that's the fermentation process, and the output of that is alcohol.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Okay. And now we're in the wash.
Right. This distillation process, we use the wash, right? And this is how you increase the alcohol content.
Okay.
So for this, you use the still. We'll talk about a pot still here. It's if you ever seen like a bourbon still before, it's like a big copper kettle. It goes up. It's got an arm that comes down into a compressor and all that kind of stuff, right? Anyway, so use a still for this process here. This distillation is usually done twice, sometimes 3 times. So you the triple distilled, that kind of thing, right?
Right.
So the wash goes in first, and it's heated up. And because alcohol has a lower boiling point than water, the alcohol vapors rise first. They go into the top of the still,
Okay.
into the neck. Then you have the line arm at the top as well.
Yep.
They funnel down into a cold water condenser, and then they're turned into a liquid again.
Got it.
The resulting liquid is then put back through the process again, sometimes a third time.
Got it.
Right. And then the distiller he'll discard certain parts of this. It's called the heads and the tails, and they're the parts of you don't want to drink this stuff. They're either way too alcoholic, or they don't have any taste, or the taste is bad, that kind of thing. Right. What you want is the heart, and the heart is what you put into the barrels.
Got it.
And the barrels, they are, for bourbon, we said they were the new charred oak. Otherwise, typically oak barrels. and then from there they are matured. And so the process, depending on what they're making,
they're just sitting there kind of absorbing the wood flavor kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea.
Mixing around, doing all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then after they've reached a certain maturity point, whenever the master distiller is ready to bottle them up, they go to the bottling process. And I think the main takeaway here was that if you've heard of like single cask, stuff like that, right? Because a lot of the times the bottling process will be done with multiple barrels, sometimes hundreds of barrels, right?
So you're saying like a single
cask bottle would be just from one barrel.
Right. So if you get like a cheaper version of whiskey, it might be like just a big mashup of all the barrels that they made.
Right.
Got it.
Now we talked about Pappy earlier. Pappy is kind of notoriously expensive. I was asking a friend of mine who's way more better versed in this kind of stuff than I am, and he was saying that there's a whiskey called Weller, which is essentially, see if I can explain this correctly. You have the barrel stacked up from the floor to the roof, right? And so whatever's in the middle of those barrels is typically the best of the best, and that's what they make Pappy out of.
Okay.
And then from the barrels on the floor and the barrels towards the top, they combine those. So it's essentially, think like, I mean, this is a terrible analogy because like Keystone's horrible, but you know, it's like kind of the dregs of like a Coors Light or something like that.
That's what it tastes like.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of picture it's kind of the same process, but it's just a really good product.
Yeah.
You're getting a really good whiskey for, I mean, I don't know what Pappy goes for, but it's super expensive.
Yeah.
It's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
For a reasonable price.
Huh.
So Weller is a good whiskey to maybe look out for. Yeah. So that's a quick rundown on whiskeys, and you can spell it with an E or without an E. I found out as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was one of the questions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other questions I have about whiskey.
Do you have? I mean, you mentioned Whistle Pig.
I like Whistle Pig.
Yeah.
Whistle Pigs, I think, would be my favorite whiskey. I like a rye.
Yeah.
I think I like I like a Manhattan. With a rye whiskey.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the best version of whiskey I like.
Okay.
I mean, I like it neat, or
Sure.
just on ice.
Sure.
But yeah, I think I like it kind of in a cocktail.
Sure.
I'm usually drawn to whatever the whiskey or the bourbon cocktail is on a menu.
Yeah.
From
what I
Moscow Mule, something, I don't know.
Is there? I don't even know what is that. Yeah,
Isn't that?
I thought it was.
Isn't there whiskey in there? I never really order it.
Who knows? We know a lot about this subject here. What was I going to say? When you're drinking, you said so you drink it on the rocks or something like that. From what I understand, have you ever done like a whiskey tasting? I was basically just like lectured on if it's a good whiskey, you want to drink it no ice, just
drink it neat.
Yeah, just by itself, because adding ice to it, you immediately lose like 80% of the flavor of the beverage. So
makes sense. I mean, sometimes to me, I don't really want to. I don't drink it that often.
Well,
so I don't necessarily want to have a drink that like I can't make a face through. Like I gotta like taking it down.
I think his point was probably like if it's a good whiskey, if it's a whiskey you don't want to put ice on, it's probably not going to make you suffer through a glass of it.
Right. But if it's nice, it's a smooth. It's and I would agree. Like I would agree.
You got to get the mouth feel and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
He was. Yeah. We sat through this tasting, and you have to you smell first, and then you smell with your mouth open, and you do all this other stuff, and you kind of go back and forth with the glass and all that kind of crap. So it was a good experience. I think I learned a little bit. Obviously, didn't retain as much information as I thought I had.
Do you have a favorite whiskey?
I don't. I have a list of ones that I'm supposed to try. I think Whistle Pig's good. I like Woodford as well.
Woodford is good.
Woodford's good. Yeah. I mean, it's just so. I don't think I have a favorite. I think Woodford was probably the one that I've purchased most. So maybe that would be up there with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm not a big like Jack Daniels fan though.
Well, I've had too many nights kind of early on and when I started drinking of Jack Daniels that it just sort of ruined it for me.
Right.
But I feel like, of course, some movie had to make it popular for me. But Son of a Woman, hoo-ah, he's always drinking Jack Daniels. Right. So when I got older, I was like, I want Jack Daniels like Al Pacino.
Right, of course.
And then I drank a lot of it, and I was like, I don't want any more of this.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you got to get the really expensive bottles because you can't buy them as often. You never get sick of it.
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Yeah.
I think I do have like one Whistle Pig bottle at my house, and it's like in a box. I just don't drink that often.
Yeah.
Just at home. Like, I'm not really gonna.
Yeah.
Come home from a long day, like a lawyer. I just pour myself a glass of whiskey.
Whiskey neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that Tennessee whiskey song by
Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton.
It was originally by Oh God, somebody's gonna kill me out there.
Yeah.
Not him.
Well, someone is extra gonna not like me because I didn't know it wasn't by him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, when you Google it, it's just he's the one that pops up. So.
Yeah, that song's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've always wanted to go on the Bourbon Trail.
Yeah.
Like through Kentucky. I think
Right.
that'd be a cool way to see that part of the world.
Yeah, for
Part
sure.
of the country.
It'd be the only reason to really go to Kentucky, I think.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
Yeah. You do do those two things and you're good to go.
Hang out with Papa John,
Yeah. Yeah.
who I think has changed his allegiance from Louisville to UK now because he's been ousted up there. So
Really?
I believe so.
Oh, poor Papa. Tough times for Papa John.
He's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you make a ton of pizza.
That's right.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else on whiskey? I mean,
I think that's pretty much covers what I had. There's tons more to know. Obviously.
mean, there's
tons
obviously-
of intricacies, and there's obviously there's Canadian whiskey and Japanese whiskey that we didn't even touch on.
yeah.
So yeah,
Huh.
let us know.
Well, excellent. Well,
Send me my corrections. Have at it.
It didn't sound like you made any bold claims there,
No,
but maybe I just
that's right.
giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Thanks.
All right, so we're going to switch topics. Michael, tell me what you know about karaoke.
Karaoke. Well,
Yeah.
I believe it's a Japanese word.
It is?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it translates into sing with your friends in a room. Karaoke is an awesome activity. I love
like karaoke?
Yes, I do. There's a small little karaoke bar in my hometown that it's called Gatsby's. It gets frequented
Nice.
a lot by us, and it's typically the last stop of the night.
Mm-hmm. Usually you're all...
Everybody's ready.
Lubricated.
Everybody's ready to get on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it ends up just turning into a group scream along instead of anything
Right,
else.
right.
But
Do you have a go-to song?
I've been known to sing a little Casey and JoJo all my life. I know it's a duet, but I usually do both parts. So I'll usually do both parts of Casey and JoJo. Every now and then I'll do the Georgia Satellites. Don't tell me no lines. Keep your hands to yourself.
Oh, that's a good song.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's really I'd like to go through the giant catalog of like 50 million songs they have there and just pick something out typically.
Something that you don't even know yet, or do you ever try
something
to...
that catches my eye that I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I could do that.
That's when it's fun to go through some song that you haven't even thought about, and
Yeah.
it's kind of also nice when you can, I don't know, judge the tone of the room or the vibe of the room,
Right.
and feel like you really choose a song that's going to speak to everybody there.
But there's definitely a skill to choose. I mean, there
for
there
sure.
are wrong songs to sing for karaoke.
Absolutely,
Right.
Absolutely.
I can't remember what it was. I mean, I've seen so many people get up there, and you're just like, all right, dude.
Yeah, no, you
I know
just
that
shouldn't
I
have
know
chosen
that
this
I'm not a
song.
professional singer, but this is not
Yeah.
what everybody wants to be listening to right now.
And do you think that there is some element that people shouldn't try to like overdo it with their talent, or do you think they should try to find something that kind of fits their level of ability?
I think you should 100% be allowed to sing karaoke no matter what. But a little bit of like self-awareness goes a long way with karaoke, I think.
Yeah.
I also love it when somebody gets up there and can just kill
Oh,
it.
just yeah.
Yeah.
And it's always nice when it's something somebody totally unexpected.
Right. Yeah, you
gets
watch
up there and-
watch my friend go up there and sing "Touch Myself" by Madonna, whatever. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
something good like that.
There was a I feel like, was he Colombian or somebody? This was not a karaoke thing, but it was one of those like Colombia's Got Talent sort of rip-off shows. And they're speaking Spanish, and then they go up and then he sings Eddie Vedder. I don't know if you ever seen this. He sings Pearl Jam.
Nails
like,
it.
oh my God. He just perfectly imitates Eddie
Yeah.
Vedder, and it's
Okay.
just a perfect rendition. But
Yeah.
this was one of those times when you see a viral video, it's like, this guy destroys Eddie Vedder. He's
Right.
insane.
And
you
he's
watch
blind.
it. Yeah. Like, how did he
His
do
family
that?
all just died.
But yeah, I mean, you hit on the main point. Karaoke is a form of entertainment where
Yeah.
people can take turns singing popular songs from a machine. All right. So that's the basic.
From a machine.
The first karaoke machine was invented, you're correct, Japanese. A Japanese musician, I'm going to really
No, you got
brutalize
this.
this name.
You got this.
Daisuke Inoue
Yeah.
in Kobe, Japan in 1971.
Okay.
Yeah. He admits he does not the creative name for like coning the name karaoke.
Right.
That was actually created. So this businessman hired this guy. this guy. He's a musician. This Japanese Daisuke.
Yeah.
He's a musician. This CEO hired him to basically make your music without the lyrics, so that I can perform it at my company holiday party or whatever.
Right.
And after doing it, it was so well received. This guy was such a good voice.
Yeah.
So well received that they noticed there was like a gap in the market for like music like this or entertainment like this. And so this guy, Inoue, created the first karaoke machine called the Juke 8.
The Juke 8.
The Juke 8.
Does karaoke translate into anything?
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
Okay.
So,
I'm sure it
to
does.
market this, so to market karaoke,
Yeah.
they had to come up with a name like
Okay.
it's not sing along or whatever. Because singing along has been around since people have started singing, which I think would go back,
Goes back to
forever.
like call and response, back to like Gregorian chant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So singing along, but it actually means there was a strike going on, and this orchestra wasn't there. So they actually karaoke in Japanese translates to empty orchestra.
Ah.
So the orchestra isn't there. Karaoke. So you have the machine plays the song.
Yeah.
Now further technology has created the sing-along elements. Like we're going to put on a DVD or in some cases a cassette tape or a disc, like a old disc that they used to have, where you would have like a background of some picture, and then on the bottom of the screen you have the ball bouncing over the lyrics so you can follow along.
Right.
You don't need to know the lyrics and all that stuff. So that all that technology sort of progressed through the years to make it a lot more accessible. And especially in other countries where this is more prevalent in some ways, it's helpful to have obviously the lyrics.
Sure.
So I shift over to the next kind of section I have for this, which is just like popularity of this. So it's probably the most popular in Asia.
Okay. That makes sense.
It makes sense, but I don't know why really. So it's kind of in subsection, but why? But why is it so popular in Asia? So in Japan / Asia, it's not as expensive as it sometimes is here in the United States.
Yeah.
Like you might go to a bar and there might be like a cover for a karaoke night or something. Like there's just a lot more karaoke bars in Asia, and you can go to like something that's like, for several hours you can have $10 a person, and it comes with all the booze.
Yeah, and you get the room.
The private room.
Right.
And also because they have more private rooms, people are a little bit more open to like singing in front of their friends rather than singing in front of a huge bar. It's a little bit more intimidating.
Yeah.
I saw reference to this. They were saying that like in Asia there might be more song choices. I've been into a lot of bars when I feel like I've had a lot of song choices.
Well, maybe they mean song choices in that, I mean, they can sing all their Asian songs and probably English songs as well. Whereas if we get into a bar and they put up any kind of, a Chinese letter or Japanese letter, like what, I mean, no idea how to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know the music. They're probably, I think, I find that people outside of the States are way more well-versed in what happens in America than we are with anywhere else.
Absolutely.
So they know more of our culture. And that
For
kind of
sure.
stuff, I feel
Like our biggest export, I think, is our culture.
Maybe.
I think it is. So yeah, it's more personal, supposedly more song choices. And in Japan, people just enjoy singing.
Is that right?
And they enjoy singing, even though they might be bad at it or they're not in tune or whatever. They just they find it enjoyable.
Is that something that I can actually fact check?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going to go with. It's
Right.
a cultural difference. I think a lot of people in the United States enjoy singing, but would probably be more embarrassed than I think the Japanese are. Like I don't think the Japanese are trying to go in there and hit it like Whitney Houston.
Right.
They're not trying. They just want to enjoy it. In the USA, the New York Times said this. Portland, Oregon is supposed to be the capital of karaoke.
Huh.
I mean, kind of odd.
I wouldn't have guessed.
I would
it,
have
at guessed it would have been like Koreatown in L.A. or in New York or something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, like somebody like an Asian transplant into our
Yeah,
culture,
there's-
sort
I
of.
mean, those neighborhoods have tons of karaoke bars.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I was reading something that said there's a lot of places in Toronto that have it. Obviously, that's not United States, but I mean, obviously, it's very popular. A lot of bars sometimes have 7 nights a week karaoke.
Yeah.
And they have karaoke competitions. In fact, one of my favorite movies. It's a popular movie that I like. It's called Duets with Huey Lewis, Gwyneth Paltrow. It was back in Paul Giamatti. It's a great movie. They go to different karaoke bars and like Huey Lewis is a karaoke hustler because he's so good at singing, but nobody puts it on him.
But they do like competitions or something.
Yeah, so like
He's like a Like a pool shark or something like that? But he's doing
Exactly. I mean, there's in the movie Duets, yeah, he's standing at the bar, Huey Lewis, and some guy comes up to him and is like, "You can't sing." Like, and this guy like just came off the stage and like a bunch of rah-rahs.
Beat that.
And then Huey Lewis is like, "Oh, it was okay. I could go up there."
Sings Power Love.
He goes up there. He goes up there and he sings a Joe Cocker song.
Uh-huh.
I just remember I love the guy being like, "Ah." And actually, I think he gives the guy he gives him the book and be like, "You choose any song in the book, and I'll go sing it and I'll kill it." And yeah, he goes up there and kill it. Don't choose Joe Cocker on Huey Lewis. No, he kills it. Brings it to this next
Maybe
point.
that's my calling.
I think you would kill at karaoke.
I'm
a karaoke killer.
I'm very humble, but I think I'm very good as well.
I think we should go. So there are karaoke world championships, annual.
Okay.
It's an annual competition between contestants from around the world. They bring people to represent their country. I mean, there's some
a World Cup.
I didn't go too far into like the qualifications for this, but there's some level of you got to find a place that's doing qualifiers. Go. Perform.
I assume you can't have made money off of music before.
Right, you got to be an amateur. Yeah, you can't be a pro.
Okay.
But so like this year, the number one solo artist in karaoke was from the UK. Her name's Jenny Ball.
Okay.
She's awesome. I mean, she's got an incredible voice. And then she's on the X Factor. So she's, I think, trying to cross over from karaoke to this. And it is kind of funny how much
It's like it was her versus Ruben Studdard in the final.
Exactly. But no, it's kind of funny that like those shows, The Voice, X Factor, America's Got Talent, like all of these kind of things are just sort of glorified karaoke competitions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
for
kind
the
of
singers.
it's kind of what they're for the singers. Some other people. I'd look these people up, and we'll put this on the website. But yeah, they've got competitions in solo. They've got duets. I think they sometimes break it out by gender. You can go male versus female.
Does the judging go more into the whole like stage presence and not just the voice?
So the judging is usually split between 50% judges and 50% fan voting.
Applause level.
Yeah. I think that they do have some kind of like voting system that people can watch the live stream and vote in live.
Gotcha.
So pretty similar to TV shows like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean they just kill it, and they also somewhat do like renditions on the song. They're not doing. They're not necessarily judged on their ability to imitate the song.
Okay.
They can do their own take on it, sort of. But they got to be able to like have the song track. So what about some popular songs that are chosen for karaoke?
Yeah, I can. All right.
Yeah, here.
Larth Brooks, his whole collection.
Yeah.
Friends in Low Places for sure has to be up there.
I was going to say that's my go-to song. In fact, the largest version of karaoke was at a NASCAR event. You had 120,000 people supposedly singing "Friends in Low Places."
Okay.
And then they group that into some record.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Piano Man's probably up there, I would guess.
It probably is, but I found a list. I don't think this is tracked.
It's like the meme list.
This is I mean I don't think this is from anything, but they do break it out into like hardest, easiest, most
hardest
popular.
has to be like the Moody Blues. What is it? Nights in White Satin or something like that.
I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna go to the website that I had put in here, but what this list was saying, the number. We'll just do the number 1 through 10. Bohemian Rhapsody, number 1.
See, I would kill somebody. This song's too long.
It's very long.
Get off the stage.
Yeah. So you might kill somebody. We might get to that later. Just keep that in mind. Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue.
Really?
La, 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 la.
Yeah. Dixie Chicks has to be up there. Or Shania Twain.
It should be. It's not on this list for some reason.
I feel like every
no,
that goes up and sings "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" or something.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
I Want to Dance with Somebody, Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Great song for it.
Another one, You Need to Know Your Limits.
You do. Wannabe by the Spice Girls.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderwall, Oasis.
Yeah.
Angels, Robbie Williams. Don't Stop Believin', Journey. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond. Africa, Toto. And the last one on this list is Dancing Queen by ABBA.
Okay.
So just a couple other ones. So
I was gonna come back to something.
Yeah.
We were talking about, know your limits and have a little self-awareness and that kind of thing. I think if you're gonna sing a song, you need to not know all the words, but you need to know that song.
You need to know that song. Yeah.
I don't want don't be up there and like singing way off beat.
Yeah. One of my friends, we were down in South Carolina for a bachelor party. We went and did karaoke. I did do Friends in Low Places, but he, now to his credit, got up there and he sang Biggie.
Okay.
I mean, he pulled it off. He knew all the words.
Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, he knew all the words. So I'll give it to him. And I agree. I think you sort of need to not be like just hugging the screen the whole time. You should be performing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to know all the words at all, but if you're like singing off beat, where like the thing's way ahead of you or you're way ahead of the thing,
get off the stage.
Get off the stage.
Yeah. So this brings it up to the top 10 easiest karaoke songs in this list. Build Me Up Buttercup, number 1.
Okay.
Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
Baggy Trousers by Madness.
Don't know that one.
I'm Too Sexy.
Okay.
Right Said Fred.
Just talking to the microphone.
Exactly. Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash.
Yep.
Uptown Girl, Billy Joel. I don't know if that's
Billy Joel.
necessarily the easiest. Country House by Blur. Hit Me With a Rhythm Stick, Ian Dury and the Blockheads. I don't know if I'd sing that.
I don't know that I know that.
Karma Chameleon,
Okay.
Culture Club, and Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire.
Yep. Okay.
So those would be the easiest and the hardest ones on this list. Number 1 is I Believe in a Thing Called Love. This is so much fun to sing like when you're in the shower and you can't really hear, but like it's a really exactly. That's a hard song to sing.
I believe in a thing called love. The next part's even higher.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes me think the person's not really singing. It's some like auto-tune thing. Maybe. Video Games by Lana Del Rey. And I did go listen to it. Lana Del Rey is definitely a type of voice to her.
Yeah.
Forgot About Dre, Eminem. And
I could do that one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hurt by Christina Aguilera. My Immortal by Evanescence. Hello by Adele. Cry Me a River, Michael Bublé. Listen by Beyonce. Skinny Love by Birdie. And Womanizer by Britney Spears round out the hardest list.
So it's a lot of like vocal range that makes them difficult. I guess, maybe. And then maybe just really fast lyrics.
Yeah, like hard lyrics. Obviously, if you're going to try to sing it in some imitation form, some of these people, you got to sing "Hello" by Adele. Like, I don't know if you're doing that. Right. But yeah, I mean, I kind of believe those are some of the hardest. So yeah, let's move into one of my favorite sections.
Okay.
Man, that's crazy.
Okay.
Sometimes karaoke can get you killed. So in the 2000 to 2010, there was what's called the My Way killings.
Oh.
So Frank Sinatra's version, My Way. In the Philippines, there were accounts of 6 people being killed for singing this song in karaoke in the Philippines.
Okay. Who's the perp?
It varies.
Oh.
It varies.
People just hate that song?
It's not like the New York Times wrote about this.
Coincidence?
Maybe there weren't like exact reasons why My Way brought people to just such anger. They were going to kill these people.
The killers weren't related?
No, this isn't like a serial killing.
It's not one person who was like, "Oh, hate Frank Sinatra."
If you went to the Philippines, I think, and you were going to decide to sing a song, it's a pretty violent place, anyways.
Right.
But you do not want to go up there and sing My Way. Like that's like somewhat of a death sentence.
Know where you are.
Yeah.
Walk with a purpose. Don't keep valuables on you. Do not sing My Way.
Do not sing My Way.
Travel in a group at night.
Yeah, so it's not exactly clear what has led to this song like eliciting so much violence. Some people believe it's the song's aggressive lyrics. I did it my way. I mean, I guess, and so they went in the owner, like a patron of a bar, owner of a bar, said that they think that the song makes the singer feel like they're somebody when they're really nobody. And this arrogance in the Philippines, it'll get you killed. Somebody was singing it supposedly off tune, and the bouncer, the security guard, killed the guy. So I mean, if the security guard isn't going to protect you, I don't know who is. But
this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Right, man, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
And so this is an actual thing, the My Way killings, and this is not the only acts of violence that occur around karaoke. In Malaysia in 2008, a man at a coffee shop hogged the karaoke microphone so long that he was stabbed to death by other patrons.
Seems deserved.
Maybe. In Thailand, a man was arrested on charges that he shot to death. This is one of my favorites. It's so sad, but like, he shot to death 8 neighbors, one of whom was his brother-in-law, in a dispute stemming from several karaoke offerings, including repeated renditions of John Denver's "Take Me Home, Country Roads." I mean, you can't make this up.
If I hear that song one more time.
Oh my God.
Sorry for your
in China, a fight occurred over the microphone in a karaoke parlor, and a man hacked 2 other people to death with a meat cleaver.
Jesus.
There was also an incident in Seattle. This happens in the United States.
Sounds like just don't go to Asia and sing karaoke.
There was also an incident in Seattle where a karaoke singer was punched and attacked by a woman in order to stop him singing Coldplay's Yellow.
See, that's the kind of karaoke attack I think should happen, but is okay.
It's kind of warranted.
It's just funny.
Yeah. Like, it's hilarious.
Just that woman has some kind of connection to that song.
Oh, I mean,
and
somebody broke up with her, and that was their song, and she wanted him to shut up.
Yeah.
No, there is something like to this where I've got the microphone, I'm singing what I want to sing, I've got the conch. Yeah. So that's That's Crazy, and I got one last section. Wait, what?
Okay.
Have you ever heard of PowerPoint karaoke?
No.
So I think this is actually hilarious. You download random presentations that people have never seen before, and they go up on stage and they give a presentation for the PowerPoint.
That sounds
It's called
fun.
PowerPoint karaoke.
There's a game sort of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that game we played? What was the game we played on Thanksgiving with the wrong answers game or whatever it was?
Yeah. I forget what the name of
it.
that.
It's like a Jackbox party game type thing.
Yeah.
Where it's similar. You have to there's like a brand new product, and you have to convince the rest of the people in the group to that your product's the best product.
It's like a Shark Tank thing or like a pitch game.
That's right.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, PowerPoint karaoke seems kind of similar.
I think it sounds kind of fun.
It does sound kind of fun.
Yeah. Depending on what you're pitching or talking about, I think it'd be really funny.
So what, you just download a PowerPoint off LinkedIn or something? And then
or you go on LinkedIn or isn't there like a slides.com or something?
Or something.
Yeah. So anywhere you can find some. And, PowerPoints are just the process and then just bullet points.
And then you end up getting some
get off on a tangent.
Some sophomore at UGA's presentation for their horticulture class.
Yeah, that he stole from the past 5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of a funny
You get a Travis
future
Dorsey
rendition.
entomology.
Oh, yeah.
Presentation. That'd
On
be
some
awesome.
bugs. Yeah.
I should learn a lot from that, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's karaoke. Kind of started down this path that kind of opened up into a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome topic. Besides, don't take this the wrong way. I don't see you as much of a karaoke singer. I feel like I don't see you getting up there. I feel like you maybe you just can't be bothered sometimes by that kind of thing.
When I was in Charleston, I got up and I sang. I think for me, it's more about if I've got a song I'm really excited about.
Okay. Did you just do that by yourself, or did you go up?
I went up there by myself.
Oh,
yeah.
right on.
Yeah.
Good job.
And I think if I had to go up and sing a song, I think I'd stay in line with a country song.
It's kind of liberating getting up there and just
for
screaming
sure.
into a microphone.
For sure.
Yeah.
But to your point about knowing the lyrics, having that knowledge of the lyrics give you so much confidence to go up there and actually perform something.
Otherwise, you're not you got to put on a show for the people.
Right.
Move around a little bit.
Right.
Get into it.
Yeah. I've always enjoyed if you wanted to go to a private karaoke room or something. But it is expensive here sometimes. You're renting a room for
Well, you got a big enough
couple hours. Yeah. But there was one in Athens that we would do that was fun. Shokatini, yeah. You'd have sushi and karaoke.
Yeah, that's right.
Fantastic.
And a bunch of soju or whatever. What was it?
Yeah.
I guess it was it soju that we were drinking there?
I forget.
Whatever.
But the other thing I would say is it's really important to have music that sounds pretty close to the song, I think.
Yes.
It sucks when it's just a keyboard and you're
Right.
this is a crap sing-along.
Right.
I might as well be singing Over the Rainbow. You can't really do it.
Yeah.
In Asia, when they come out with new tracks, they record the karaoke version at the same time. So it's a much more a part of the process for them because they know it's
It's
big
top
thing,
of mind
yeah.
when they're recording.
Well, also it's going to help your popularity with your song if people can go sing it at karaoke.
Right.
Whereas in America, the real artist doesn't record the karaoke version.
No.
Which
secondhand.
is below them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't care about us.
Yeah. The common man.
I want to do some karaoke now.
Yeah.
Was there a good spot around here?
That's a good question. I don't know. We'll have to look up in DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that. Another a big Matchbox 20, 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been listening to them.
Yeah.
I got pulled back into Silicon Valley. They brought up Puddle of Mud, I said.
Right. and that led you to Matchbox 20.
I've been Matchbox 20 and all the rest of that post-grunge music kind of.
Nice.
I'm not saying Puddle of Mud is good. I'm just saying they have some catchy songs.
I think we all heard what you're saying.
All right.
Thanks for the topic.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
You helped carry the episode, I think.
No, it's a good.
Well done.
This is.
Thank you all for listening. We will be back next week. We have the holidays coming up. We will be releasing on Fridays, no matter what. You will not miss any episodes. And we will see you all next week.
See you guys.